Welcome to Democracy Ish. I'm Danielle Moody with Wajahat Ali. And Waj, what's better than one war? 2, 3, 7, maybe?
Eight. More. You get a war, and you get a war, and you get a war, you get a war. Everybody gets a war. We're already at war with Cuba, with Ecuador. It's something that people kind of have, forgotten because the world is burning. But the United States has joined Ecuador in terrorist strikes against drug cartels. Okay, so that I think makes it 8. And then, as of today, literally right now, from the Vulgarian cankled horse's mouth, Danielle, tell him what's next.
Okay, so evidently, let me just play this clip. Folks, you know that everything with me has been wonky. Let's see if we can actually pull this up. Hold one second. Maybe I didn't download it. Hold on one second. Waj, while we're doing that, you break it down for folks.
Donald Trump told CNN, specifically Dana Bash, Cuba's gonna fall pretty soon. By the way, unrelated, but Cuba's gonna fall. They want to make a deal so badly. They want to make a deal. And we saw him now openly say it. It was already teased yesterday. And while the Inter Miami team was behind him, the soccer team, Messi, he was talking about this, and he pointed to Marco Rubio and said, Marco, he's been wanting this for a long time. And then Marco teased it out a few days ago. So these are cosplay crusaders who, little broken boys who've always wanted to be the heroes, whose daddy never really loved them enough.
Have they wanted to be the heroes? I have the clip now, so let's listen to it. But I'm like, have they wanted to be the heroes? Or when the rest of us were watching like fantasy films and watching sci-fi and Star Wars, that they looked at Darth Vader and they said, yeah, that's the person I want to be.
But Daniel, both things are, in all seriousness, before you play the clip, both things can be true because they have a fundamental misreading of pop culture again and again and again. And they, instead of seeing themselves as Darth Vader, they see themselves as the rebel force. Instead of seeing themselves as the hobbits, instead of seeing themselves as Sauron, they see themselves as hobbits. I'll give you an example, one quick example, just a beautiful example of how these freaks keep misreading everything. Palantir are the two secretive orbs that Saruman, the evil magician, uses to spy on people. What do Peter Thiel and Alex Karp name their surveillance company? Palantir. And Alex Karp thinks he's the good guy helping Western civilization. No, bro, you're the orcs.
Like, this is what I'm like. Do they really think that they're the good guy, or do they know that they're the bad guys, but they're trying to gaslight us into believing that they're the good guys?
They actually think they're the good guys.
I'm going to play the clip. Okay, here's the clip.
Quickly turned to Cuba. He said, without being asked, Cuba is going to fall pretty soon, by the way, but Cuba is going to fall. They want to make a deal so badly. And I asked, how so? He said, they want to make a deal, so I'm going to put Marco over there, and we'll see how that works. But we're really focused on this one now, meaning Iran. We've got plenty of time on Cuba.
He has plenty of time on Cuba, but you know who doesn't have plenty of time? The actual Cubans. The actual Cubans that he has ramped up a blockade against. They can't get any medicine. They can't get any food. They have no electricity. They're running out of water. So when he says we got plenty of time to deal with that, I just want you all to understand what it would be like trying to survive right now in darkness with no food, no grocery stores getting anything in. Canada has said that they would try and send over their version of the flotillas that we have seen, shot out of the water or hijacked by Israel, trying to make it to Gaza with aid. But now America is doing the same thing that Israel has been doing, right? And so it's just extraordinary, I think, for all of us to really, truly, and I say it on every show now, recognize that America is the axis of evil, that America is not the harbinger of democracy, that America is not moving around in a way steeped in morality. And I know that there are folks, and I say this often, we've been indoctrinated into believing that truth about America since our birth. And the truth is that we've never been the good guys. We just had better PR and had politicians that were interested in holding up a certain kind of narrative about the United States that allowed us to hold on to this false idea of patriotism, wave our flags, and feel like we were going around the world to do good. But when you actually listen to folks from Iraq, from Iran, from Afghanistan, from all of these war-torn places, the reality is that who has done the tearing apart? It's always America. Go to any African nation, right, that has ever battled for democracy, for sovereignty. What happens when they get leaders that are about their people and are about keeping their resources and charging Americans what they are charged, right, under still their colonist rule? They are murdered. So from Latin America to the continent of Africa, like through Central, like all over the place. And so I know that I say this, but I think that for folks, you really have to understand and unpack the fact that we have never been the good guys, but now it's so brazen. There are no masks. There's no story. There's no desire to be the big daddy that's like rocking you to sleep at night, telling you it's okay, I got it. They have their boots on everyone's throats, including us. So that to me is just, it's a wild place to be. It's like looking through the world now with a kaleidoscope, Waj, as opposed to like a telescope.
Well, I mean, you said how there's no story anymore, right? The veneer, the facade is off, the hoods are off, the masks are off, and we're seeing America at its vulgarity. And the vulgarity is represented by Donald Trump, who is American as apple pie and rape and slavery, which is a very painful thing to say as Americans, but this is who we have always been. And speaking about America's role in the Middle East, folks, why were Iranians saying death to America? The reason why they were saying death to America is the United States of America said, wait, Mossadegh, you democratically elected leader of Iran, how dare you try to protect and nationalize your country's greatest asset, oil? Oh, no, that is very dangerous. We want to exploit that resource. So we will have a CIA coup, Operation Ajax, that removes you and instead places in the Shah. And the Shah right now is like, hey guys, I'm the son of the Shah. I'm ready to get back in. The Shah comes in, literally just a puppet of the United States, uses and abuses the wealth and the money to help himself and his family, and then crushes dissent with Savak, right? Their own surveillance company, right? Not surveillance, but police state. And then you have Iranians say, okay, we need something else. Let's come together. And our best bet of overthrowing this mother effer is Khomeini and the Islamic Revolution. And then in 1979, that's why you get, at the time, the largest revolution, popular revolution, and people saying death to America, because they saw America as an active partner in their oppression. All right. Mm-hmm. It's not, instead of telling you this story, Danielle, what they say instead, right? I heard this growing up my entire life, seeing in pop culture. They just hate us. They hate our values. They hate our culture. They hate our freedom. Which was that story that America sold us through Hollywood, through our media, through our experts, was so seeped into the imagination of the American consciousness that it helped the United States then sell and launder the war on terror. They hate us. They hate our freedom, us versus them. You're either with us or against us. Shock and awe, axis of evil. But now the reality is for many people around the world, as Danielle said, it's been Israel and the United States that's the axis of evil. Mm-hmm. For the Middle East, they just don't see Israel as the belligerent force. They see the United States of America arming Israel. They see the United States of America as being utterly complicit with Israel in ideology, in weaponry, when it comes to diplomatic cover and support. So when you go throughout the Middle East, it's rarely, just Israel, it's the United States and Israel. And then Osama bin Laden was able to use that to sell his version of the story. Look, it's them. They hate us. You know how they're saying it's Islam versus the West? Oh, no, it's the West versus Islam. And that story, Danielle, became the number one recruitment tool for violent extremists. And now imagine what's happening as they are attacking Iran, killed Khamenei during Ramadan. And folks, some breaking news, Danielle. I just want to share this, came out 5 minutes ago. Washington Post says Cancellation of Army exercise fuels speculation about Mideast troop deployments. The elite 82nd Airborne Division, which specializes in ground combat and other fraught missions, is awaiting new orders after the unexpected change of plans as of 31 minutes ago.
Okay. We're going to jump ahead to Iran then in our coverage today, because I think, to me, and I know that obviously you saw it yesterday as well, but I got to tell you that when I saw, and I want to find it completely, Donald Trump, People Magazine or Time Magazine, Time Magazine interview. And in Time Magazine, and I'm going to jump ahead to it, Donald Trump says, well, here's what he said. This is the first thing that he said. Jonathan Karl, journalist, in a lengthy phone interview, Donald Trump marveled at the success of the military operation against Iran and expressed no concern about what comes next. Listen to Donald Trump. Listen to the things that he says. Quote, "I hope you are impressed," he said to me. "How do you like the performance? I mean, Venezuela is obvious. This might even be better. How do you like the performance?" I said, nobody questions the success of the military operation. The concern is what happens next. Forget about what happens next. They are decimated for a 10-year period before they can build it back. That is Donald Trump, right? Like, that is Donald Trump. Here is Lindsey Graham. Because Lindsey Graham, and I covered this, Waj, this week on the Danielle Moody Show. We covered it on Monday.
A religious war. Who wins it at the end of the day? Do the radical Islamic terrorists who want to kill all the Jews because God told them to? Who want to kill me because I'm an infidel?
A religious war.
Said it.
Who signed up for this religious war? And then here is Donald Trump. Here is Donald Trump with Time Magazine. Asked if Americans should worry about Iran retaliating against Americans on U.S. soil, Donald Trump responded, "I guess." For the latest Time cover story titled "Trump's War," which was published on Thursday, March 5th, correspondent Eric Coralesa questioned Trump about the details of the unfolding war with Iran. In a pointed moment, he was asked whether it's reasonable for Americans to have concerns about being attacked at home. "I guess," Trump 79 responded, "but I think they're worried about that all the time. We think about it all the time. We plan for it. But yeah, we expect some things. Like I said, some people will die. When you go to war, some people will die." Waj, do you think about being blown up all the time?
I don't, because I'm not a warmonger, and because thankfully I have the privilege of living in the United States of America, which sadly did most of the blowing up, and has no appetite of receiving any type of blowback. When 19 foreign hijackers brought down the two towers, my country decided to engage in a 2-decade failed war on terror, and just decimated generations of Iraqis, of Afghans, droned the hell out of Yemenis, Pakistanis, Somalis. We're perfectly fine inflicting the damage. But do we have the appetite for even a brief taste of the blowback? We do not. In America, we do not, folks. And so now Donald Trump, a draft dodger, Donald Trump, who said that his personal Vietnam, remember this quote, Donald Trump said his personal Vietnam was not getting STDs. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump, whose rich daddy gave him bone spurs, Donald Trump, who's failed up in life, is perfectly fine now sending your children to die for a useless war. For him, for white Christian nationalists, for the military-industrial complex, and for Benjamin Netanyahu. 6 Americans have already died that we know of. Now, with the latest news, if indeed they are preparing or at least strategizing for ground troops, what do you think is going to happen when they send ground troops into Iran? You know what's going to happen? Americans are coming home in body bags. Yes, they might kill a lot of Iranians. Yes, they'll probably bomb another school or hospital. Yes, we're probably going to get more stories of 200, instead of girls dying in a school, maybe they'll go to an all-boys school and kill 200 more.
Maybe they'll
But
go
you
to
know
a
what Iranians are
hospital.
going to do?
Maybe they'll go to a NICU.
I'm talking about not just Iranian soldiers. You know what's going to happen? Like what happened in Iraq, what happened in Vietnam, what's happening in Ukraine. The average Jose and Jane and Jamil will be like, oh, really? You're going to kill us? You're going to kill our children? F it. I'll learn how to shoot a gun. Yep. And guess what, folks? With Iran, it's not just situated in Iran. Iran has proxies. There's Hezbollah in Lebanon. By the way, we're not talking about it. Israel is now striking Lebanon, activating Hezbollah. There's also the Houthis. Where? In Yemen. Also, what do we have? Hamas. Yes, they're degraded, but if they're Hamas or Hamas agents or cells, also extremist groups, also individuals will be radicalized. Also, I don't know, maybe some spillover where if you are a U.S. serviceman or if you're a U.S. troop or if you're a tourist, if you're a U.S. business person, oh, you know, all the ones who are stuck right now in the Middle East, and the Trump administration said, well, good luck if you can get to Egypt and then we'll take it from there. Why? Because they had no strategy and escape plan. What could go wrong? And then it goes back to your original point, Daniel. The new axis of evil is going to be, or perhaps already is, Donald Trump, Israel and Netanyahu, with a little helping of Putin. And what Putin has to do is sit there, drink his vodka, and let the United States of America bleed, get weaker, get more isolated, and then the world, especially as we've already seen with the trade war, Daniel, is going to move around us. And guess who it helps? China.
I got to say this, though. I disagree with you on one thing. And my one thing is Putin. I don't think that Putin sits on the sideline. I actually think, and we know this, that Russia has trade relations with Iran. So does China. Iran, China teaming up with Iran, whether they are providing weapons in the same way or providing money in the same way that the United States does with Israel, if they do so with Iran, I think that it hastens, right, the deterioration of America and lengthens Iran's ability to fight. And again, you're talking about America's appetite. We don't have an appetite. We don't have an appetite for this. But I was listening.
I was talking about troops, but I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah,
intelligence, support, supplies.
Yeah, intelligence,
absolutely.
Support, supplies, I think are going to come from Russia and China because they need the Strait of Hormuz, right? They need the ability to run their freights. I think that they support Iran. And I think that we put boots on the ground as that veteran who got his arm broken by Senator Xi, who said, we didn't sign up to die for Israel.
That's right.
We didn't sign up to die for Israel. I believe then, Waj, as it always happens, the anti-Semitism in this country is going to go through the fucking roof.
Already has.
Go through the roof. Hate crimes, bombings of, like, what Donald Trump is doing is activating the worst in all of us, the worst in humanity, with no plan, no strategy, no exit, no nothing, just pure unadulterated chaos. And what does it all come back to? Lindsey Graham, Pete Hegseth, and their rapture, Mike Huckabee, and the end of times. The more chaos, the more bloodshed, the more we hasten God's hand to bring back Christ.
Well, if Christ does come back, do you think he'll be rolling with, I don't know, the immigrants, the refugees, the poor, or with Hegseth? I read the Bible. I have an answer on that one, but let's see. Let's ask the audience. One quick data point about China, which is important.
Yeah,
China is the largest buyer of Iranian oil. This accounts for nearly 90% of Iran's oil exports. So if you've seen, China actually has been aggressive in mediation. They haven't come in, at least overtly, but China has been sending envoys to try to allow some safe passage. So this disrupts the global economy because, as Danielle was saying, the Strait of Hormuz, about 20 to 25% of the world's oil passes through that narrow strip, and Iran is going to do everything it can to choke it off, right? Tried its best to disrupt it. If that gets disrupted, folks, I'm sure you've already seen it.
Gas prices
have already gone up. We called it a week ago. You don't have to be an economist. We see some of our comments here. I want to see some of the comments that people are saying right here in the 35%. So yeah, someone said, Buddy's dad said 35% of America has an appetite for war. Actually, Buddy, believe it or not even 35%.
21%.
The appetite for war is
21%.
22 to 28%. And just for perspective, when the last helicopters left Vietnam in 1973, that raging success that was Vietnam, 1973, the approval rating for the Vietnam War in 1973 at its lowest was 33 to 35%. This war has just begun, and a majority of Americans are like, nah. And as Danielle was saying, we have a history of bombing Muslims and brown people. Every time there's been a war with Muslims and brown people, the president starts with a very high approval rating of 80 to 90%. This mother effer is starting with a disapproval rating, and now he's threatening to expand the war to Cuba. Take him literally and seriously. He said it twice now. And by the way, now, because he's completely effed up, there are no plans, no ground troops, maybe ground troops. Now they're angling for ground troops, right? This war is escalating. I don't know if you saw 2 days ago, Danielle, that NATO defense actually intercepted a missile headed for Turkey. U.S. consulate is burning in Dubai. You have Shias now being radicalized in Pakistan, all over the world. China, like we just said, is desperately trying for mediation because, we want our oil. Russia does not want to get into a ground war because it's already stretched thin, but it will help Iran, anything to weaken America. And what's going to happen, folks? Going back full circle, America is going to be seen as belligerent, untrustworthy, unreliable. Already, let's remind people, Danielle, already our allies don't share intelligence with us anymore because they
can't trust us. And I played this clip yesterday on the Danielle Moody Show. I want to play it again. And it is of the foreign minister of Iran, who is on NBC, and what he says when asked about ground troops coming to Iran from the U.S.
Has not ruled out boots on the ground in Iran. Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
So you're saying that Iran is ready and willing to take on the U.S. military if there were to be ground troops?
Well, we were ready for this war even more than the previous war. So you can see, the quality of our missiles, how much they are upgraded after the last war, because we learned lots of lessons. And we are prepared for any other eventuality, even, a ground invasion. So our soldiers are prepared for any scenario. When I said we are waiting for them, it didn't mean that we are waiting for continuation of the war. No, but we have prepared ourselves to confront with any scenario, with any eventuality, any possibility, and we know that we can handle that.
And what he goes on to say, Waj, and then I want your thoughts. What he goes on to say is, we can't trust America.
Yes.
He said we came to the negotiation table twice.
That's right.
Twice. And in the middle of negotiations, you bombed us. Right? We came to the negotiation tables twice. And in the midst of those negotiations, you bombed us. So we're ready. Basically, he said the equivalent of, come outside, we'd like to talk. right? Like,
took the hoops off.
Took the hoops off and put the Vaseline on his face and said, "We outside." So I think that when you are faced, Waj, with a situation where you have done your best, regardless, again, multiple things can be true at the same time. Iran can have an oppressive, horrid regime that has killed thousands and thousands of protesters, that has jailed and killed women for showing their hair, that has oppressed and suppressed their people and surveilled. All of these things can be true at the same time. And also have come to the table and said over the last decades upon decades, we don't got uranium. We're not interested in building a nuclear program. Your own intel tells you if the word imminent, which Netanyahu does not understand what that actually means. Imminent means like right now, right? Upon us. That doesn't take decades. So this imminent threat of Iran, the one that has nuclear weapons in the Middle East, is who? Israel. And who is a threat to everyone in the Middle East?
Israel.
So I just, when you listen to the foreign minister say, we're waiting for them, we're ready, and watching as these people bury nearly 200 little girls in an elementary school, watching people try and flee to safety, knowing that there is nowhere to be safe. Like, how do you not become radicalized? Even deciding this regime, which you've wanted to bring down, but now you're put in a situation where it's us or them. And we're evidently we're going to die anyway.
Let's do a quick DeLorean trip, because I think it's important, because you don't get this context from corporate media. You have in my entire life. We go back to the DeLorean. United States overthrew a democratically elected leader, Mossadegh, in Iran. They replaced him with the Shah. The Shah was a complete reek and tool of the United States. The Shah tortured, abused his people, stole the wealth for himself and his family. After the Islamic Revolution, George W. Bush, head of the CIA, vice president, decided to bleed both sides against the middle because there was a war between Iran and Iraq. Wanted to make sure that Iraq was hurt, but really wanted to make sure Iran was hurt. So who did we back? Dictator Saddam Hussein. Perfectly fine with him being a brutal dictator at that time in the 80s. Perfectly fine that he gassed his own people. But gouge Iran. Okay? There's a reason why the Iranian regime, and then the older generation of people, because it's been 40 plus years, have not trusted the United States of America. However, the younger generations, they're different. They were born after the revolution. They don't hate Americans. Even after the failed war on terror, they don't hate Americans. They're able to differentiate between the American regime and Americans. All right? They want freedom. The Islamic Republic of Iran, the Vilayat-e-Faqih, the Revolutionary Guard, they've been crushing dissent. Some numbers have that they've actually killed up to 15,000 protesters. All right. My entire life, and Benjamin Netanyahu said this, for 40 years, I have waited for this moment. My entire life, Daniel, Iran is 1 inch away from nuclear weapons. Iran has nuclear weapons. Iran just gave me a nuclear weapon, right? Like, again and again and again, just BS. Every single administration has said, even the dumbass Bush administration, all right, Netanyahu, just calm down. We'll go after Iraq and we'll go after Afghanistan. Obama's like, nah. Biden's like, nah. Donald Trump, first administration. All right. And this is really important. And to what Danielle was saying and why that man seems so calm. Iran went to the table, a feather in the cap of Obama, got him in a diplomatic situation, removed these punishing sanctions, was able to have some oversight. Okay, some control, de-escalation. Donald Trump, first administration, gets dog-walked by Jared Kushner, who's an expansionist, pro-settler nut. His original envoy to the Middle East, David Friedman, a total freak, Israel, and these white Christian nationalists and neocons. Blows up the deal. Now, if you're Iran, Danielle, going to your point, it's not just Iran, but there's a point that a lot of people made. The rest of the world, Iran trusted you. Yep. Iran came to the table. Iran did everything right. And on a whim, you, the United States of America, blew up this deal. How can we trust you? Fast forward now to the second administration. Last year, Israel's 12-day war. Who joined Israel again? Danielle? Donald Trump. So now you're Iran. You're like, wait a second. No matter what we do, they want to get rid of us. No matter what we do, Israel is going to dog walk Donald Trump. Netanyahu literally says we're an existential threat, wants to get rid of us. And now fast forward to last Saturday, hasn't even been last Saturday. It's been less than a week because we live in hell. They kill Khamenei, the supreme leader during Ramadan. Danielle, Iran is not stupid. I always want to remind people this. Iran is also not suicidal. Belligerent, yes. Oppressive, yes. They're not suicidal. Even now, Danielle, with everything you just said and what he said, he says, okay, we know you're not going to stop. We know Israel was going to dog walk you. We don't trust you for 10 years. So we've gamed this out. And this is the game. We're going to gouge the world. We will sit back. We will give up more of our civilians, more of our children. The last person, we're perfectly fine killing everyone. We're going to kill our own people and we're going to sacrifice them. You're going to come, you come, just like you came in Vietnam, just like you came in Iraq, just like you come in Afghanistan. You come. Oh, by the way, we're bigger than Iraq. There's 90 million people here. Oh, by the way, there's a lot of Shias around the world as well. Oh, by the way, we have proxies. So we're going to attack you, not just in Iran, Strait of Hormuz, we're going to attack you. We're going to go after the consulates. We're going to go after tourists. We're going to hit you everywhere. We have the appetite. We're willing to die for this because you already told us you're going to kill us. How many of you are willing to die for Israel and Donald Trump? Pardon me for my lengthy monologue there.
But let me tell you something. That is it. That is spot on. That is all of the arrows hitting the mark. Like, that's it. You've put people up against a wall. What are they going to do? They are going to fight their way out. And where does Donald Trump go with 21%? He goes where he's gone with every one of his other issues. Negative. He goes negative. And what happens inside of America when now it isn't six military folks that are dead? It now becomes 60. 60 turns into 600, which turns into 6,000 because, well, they're warriors and they signed up for this. And as Stephen Miller said most recently this week is that, you know, we didn't go to war before because our people were too woke, and now we're not woke anymore. So we're willing to kill and fight and do all of these things while he sits on a fucking military base because he's too much of a chump to live in an actual fucking suburban town because he can't handle the protests. So him and his Nazi wife live on a military base instead. Here's the thing. The Pentagon said this could go on until September. Waj, it has already cost us $1 billion a day since February 28th. It is March 6th. So we're talking about $1 billion a day on top of continuing to support the welfare queen of the Middle East, that is Israel.
Ooh, it's true though. It's true.
Right? What else is Israel but giving handouts? So you wanted to, I'm going to call a spade a spade. So how much money do we have? How much is going to be taken away from us, not just in terms of our freedoms, but in terms of our resources in order to continue to funnel over there as they begin to rapidly run out of money, run out of missiles? Because
right,
again,
that's the key thing. What happens if we run out of Pete Hicks said that we have unlimited amount of supply of missiles, munitions, but contradictory reports are saying that we actually might run out of some munitions if this gets protracted, right? The type of war that's evolving, we actually might not have the type of supplies that are necessary. But of course, we'll find money to get more supplies, but we won't find money for healthcare or education because this is the United States of America. But in this economy, how much money are going to funnel into this war, Danielle? How many more lives? And this is all because, folks, it's even more painful because, as Danielle said, and we've talked about on this show, he is being surrounded by a lot of these white Christian nationalists. They're doing rah, rah, rah. The reporting has already come out. Listen to their own words. They want rapture. They want Armageddon. Then you got the Jared Kushner's and the other Jewish supremacists. Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, it was reported, talked to Netanyahu almost on a daily basis, right? So in addition to an ideological support of the greater Israel, they also want business deals, right? Then you have the neocons and the warhawks. But for Donald Trump, you know what he wants? You already led the show with it. He wants the show. He wants the performance. He wants the headline, just like the headline he had up on the White House website, literally as of 5 days ago. Donald Trump has obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. It's a lie. He just loves the headline. What did Zoran Mamdani do last week? Because he knows him. Gave him a mock-up, a fake newspaper of Trump helping homes. I've never seen Trump smile that much. What does he have? A mock-up Time Person of the Year before he became Person of the Year, right? Literally, you know how we can get out of this war, folks? I say this without hyperbole. You just need someone. If there was just someone in the White House, at least there were some people in the White House in the first administration, Kelly, Mattis, even Esper. They're freaks, but they're not like these extremists. They had some fidelity to the Constitution. Someone say, hey, President Trump, guess what? What? Guess who's just raving about you? Who? The world. Really? They're saying you're the one who got Khamenei. They are? You've already won. I've won? That's right. You've got your headlines. And then make a mock headline. I guarantee you, Danielle, the war would end this week.
Jesus Christ. It's just so pathetic. Like,
am I wrong though?
No,
am I wrong?
You're not wrong. I think it would be 100%. I think it'd be 100% right. 100% right. And then you ask yourself, where are the Democrats in this? Right? What happened to the Kana Massey
Can I give you breaking news? Just because
Please.
Danielle is on point and here's her flowers. Breaking news right now. Sorry. You're on a roll. Russia is providing Iran intelligence to target U.S. forces, officials say. Just came out of the Washington Post.
Let's just stop. Wash can't do it. And I was just like, somebody pour me a fucking drink. Because I'm like, I literally said it. And here we go. My God, the vodka is flowing through the fucking faucets in Russia right now.
The targeting information has included the location of American warships and aircraft in the Middle East. Russia is providing Iran with targeting information to attack American forces, the first indication that another major U.S. adversary is participating, even indirectly. That was me. I said that. But I'm gonna piggyback on Danielle and get like a fume of that in the war. According to 3 officials familiar with the intelligence, the assistance, which has not been previously reported, signals that the rapidly expanding conflict now features one of America's chief nuclear armed competitors with exquisite intelligence capabilities.
Wash, fire up the DeLorean. I want to go back to 2020. And I want to go back to also 2021. Jack Smith opens up an investigation into Donald Trump for what? His classified documents.
There you go.
What do we know about those classified documents?
What we know is that the FBI asked repeatedly for Donald Trump to send it back. Donald Trump lied about it. That was confidential information. That was confidential information that allegedly also had national security details and secrets. And we do not know if that information was sold and or given to our adversaries or allies.
And in Jack Smith's deposition, he said that it was quite possible that Donald Trump sold nuclear secrets. So when you folks, I'm just here trying to connect dots. When you think to yourself, as Waj just announced, which I had said earlier about Russia providing Iran with intel and Donald Trump loving him some Putin, do you not think that in the time between 2020 and right now, the year of our Lord 2026, that Putin has gotten information, whether it be from Tulsi fucking Gabbard, the national security advisor, whether it be from Donald Trump himself. Look what I got. Aren't I cool? Pat me on the back, daddy. Right? Like, do we not understand that when they say that they are sharing the intel with Iran, that it was most likely leaked from Donald Trump?
Can I mention one thing, because people have forgotten this and they shouldn't have? Last month, Wall Street Journal reported this. It should be a major scandal. Whistleblower said last year that Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, was given information that a person very close to Donald Trump was compromised by foreign intelligence in foreign countries. Instead of taking that a piece of information and investigating it, she takes it to Susan Wiles, the chief of staff. Then what do? They hide it under lock and key. The whistleblower was so concerned that it did not go through the proper channels and was investigated that he blew the whistle last year, and his attorney announced that this is what Tulsi Gabbard did, and she gave it to Susan Wiles, and why is she hiding this information? Then the Wall Street Journal did a follow-up. Who was the person close to the Trump administration? Danielle, you know who they said? Jared Kushner, who literally admits to talking to Netanyahu almost on a weekly basis. Jared Kushner, who was allegedly leading our negotiations with not just Russia and Ukraine, but also Iran and Israel. Jared Kushner, who literally came last Saturday, rushed over to the United States of America, begging J.D. Vance not to start the war because they had made breakthroughs in the negotiations, the Omani foreign minister. And folks, this will infuriate you, because this is a piece of the puzzle that we always try to keep bringing up. It always gets lost in corporate media, which it shouldn't. It'll make you even more furious when all is said and done when they write about this. The Omani foreign minister had achieved a diplomatic breakthrough with Iran, that if this dumbass Donald Trump had simply looked at the information, he would have said, wow, I have achieved more than Obama. He could have gone out and had his headline, through diplomacy, me, the peacetime president, Iran, I've pressured them and bullied them, and they're going even further than the corrupt, broken U.S.-Iran deal that I blew up. I blew it up for this deal. Okay, what happened instead? Danielle, think about it. Who would have sabotaged that negotiation deal? Who?
Jared
Kushner, Bibi, the white Christian nationalist. And what do we know now? That Bibi, once he found out that these negotiations were actually proceeding, that Iran had actually agreed to even more than the U.S.-Iran deal. We have reporting from the New York Times. He was furious, and he bullied and cajoled the Trump administration, flattered them through the back channel of Kushner and these war hawks. Saudi Arabia also allegedly came and said, okay, if you got to do it, you got to do it. And this dumbass Donald Trump, instead of having a diplomatic coup, a feather in his cap, Danielle, he gets this headline instead. I just want people to remember that. We were this close. All of this could have been avoided. And why the F is Jared Kushner even there, Danielle? He has no security clearance. The man failed his security clearance in the first Trump administration. And why the F is he there with Witkoff negotiating anything? What's his role? Can someone please tell me what Jared Kushner's role is, Danielle?
Bringing the suitcase of money. We are so fucked. Like, every way from Sunday. I don't think that folks really understand how bad this all is, and the escalation in less than a week of where we are. And again, I said right before Waj said, hold on, I got more breaking news. I said, where are the Democrats? Well,
that's what you're saying? Perfect.
Here's where the Democrats are. The 4 Democrats who voted to keep bombing Iran. The Kana Massey resolution to disengage U.S. forces from Trump's war against Iran just failed by a narrow 212 to 219 vote. And there were the 4 fucking Democrats that voted for it.
Danielle, you're better at math than me. Can you do the math on that? If those Democrats had actually voted with other Democrats,
it would have passed. So when they say that Donald Trump is running a legal war, an illegal war, this, that, and the other thing. What they want to say is that they would have given him the green light. They just wanted to be asked first. And so Sharon Watts came out and said, isn't this interesting? These are the Democrats who voted for the SAVE Act. You know, the act that would disenfranchise tens of millions of people, including married women who changed their maiden name. It's almost as if it's the same people. That's because it is the same people. And then
you got it.
There's
another one in 3. Give them 3.
There's another one. This one, the case to abolish ICE and launch a stuff. This is you, Waj.
No, but I had the photo of the 7.
Yeah. Oh, I have the 7. After 7 Democrats voted to fund DHS and ICE's ongoing terror campaign, what more evidence do you need? Here are the 7. Anyone find anything interesting about the names?
Jared Golden
popping up.
Jared Golden, Henry Cuellar, Perez, Tom. Is it Swazi? Swazi, right? I don't care.
Yeah. Color, like it's the same fucking people. This is the vote blue no matter who crowd.
Vote blue no matter who, baby. We need centrists. Danielle, we need centrists. We need centrists, don't we?
And then here's Tim Kaine pulling up the rear. Tim Kaine called Trump's war in Iran illegal and unconstitutional and is thinking about funding it anyway.
And guess who said we're in it? Can you go back real quick? 1 second.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I have her. I think I have her. Oh, we're in it. What's her face?
Slotkin.
So
this was March 4th, folks. Look at the date. Politico in the evening did a piece on centrist Democrats who said, well, since we're in the war anyway, I guess we have to fund it. Who said it? All the centrists. I have this regret, Danielle. I came, I told you I was in Buffalo. I came back Sunday late night, right? And guess who I passed in DCA airport? Alyssa Slotkin. And I wanted to say things to her, Danielle, but she was talking to some constituent, and it was Ramadan. And I'm like, watch.
And you're like, I can't hold my tongue.
Because I knew she'd say this. And I wanted to say to her, really, and this is where I regret it, because I'm like, she's going to sell us out. And I was going to say, Senator Slotkin, I really hope you can rein in Donald Trump. I was going to talk about the war. And it was her. She said, well, we're already in it. And Tim Kaine, who I praised on this show, I said, Tim Kaine, good for you. Tim Kaine, one of the few senators who actually connected the dots going back to the 70s. Tim Kaine knows the history, but even then doesn't stop Tim Kaine from Tim Kaining, because this is what we have with the centrists. And I want to remind you all that Nancy Pelosi did everything she could for Henry Cuellar, who's against abortion, who supported the SAVE Act, who voted along with the 6 others to fund DHS after they killed Renee Nicole Good, who was one of the 4 Vichy Democrats who said, should we have restraints on Donald Trump? Nah. Next day, literally, Donald Trump says, I'll go to war with Cuba. They didn't restrain me. That Henry Cuellar, and this is why, folks, Danielle and I have been saying this, you have to launch them into the sun. Henry Cuellar was pardoned by Donald Trump because allegedly him and his wife accepted foreign bribes. And guess what happened? Democrats said, come on back. We love you. We trust you. And this is what Henry Cuellar has done. Danielle, why do we need corporate Democrats and centrists?
No idea, but I just, because people keep saying it in the chat, they all take whose money? AIPAC's money. And that's the truth, right? Like, this is what they're doing. And what AIPAC is running, aside from Hakeem Jeffries as their bag man and their bundler, is also going after every single person who stands in their way. And they are going to run a campaign of millions and millions of, go ahead, Waj, and tell them the millions and millions of dollars.
All right. So this is, we decided to use this, but it's a great example of how they operate, right? Patrick Dorton, spokesman for the, wait for it, United Democracy Project, can't get more vanilla and anodyne than that, declined to comment on its involvement, but in a statement said that, quote, anti-Israel candidates, whether they're on the far left or the far right, should be looking over their shoulder. And the group would, quote, seize opportunities to defeat them. The United Democracy Project has amassed $96 million to spend in the 2026 midterms. In the Chicago area, Elect Chicago Women and Affordable Chicago Now appeared suddenly, spending at least $10.9 million in the 9th district primary and 2 other Illinois districts with competitive Democratic primaries. Wait for it, folks. I'm going to say the names again. United Democracy Project, Elect Chicago Women, Affordable Chicago Now. No mention of Israel. Right, Danielle? Just double checking. Here we go. Both new PACs have ties to groups that work closely with AIPAC. I'm going to say it because I think this is how it should be framed. AIPAC, with the help of Hakeem Jeffries and others, is laundering AIPAC money through anodyne-sounding names in local races. They did a test case with Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush, spent a record amount of money, historic amount of money in that race to defeat her. Not a single ad about Israel. It was like, protect democracy. They saw it was a successful. They then crowed about it, beat their chest, mocked and ridiculed Democrats. What did Democrats do? Still took their money. Tom Malinowski, last month, New Jersey District 11, Democratic primary for Mikey Sherrill's seat. Tom Malinowski, folks, is a center-left, pro-Israel, pro-Zionist Democrat. Danielle, do you know what his sin was? What would cause AIPAC to spend money against him? He said the following, you know, I want to question if we should give unconditional aid to any country. Maybe we should revisit giving unconditional aid to Israel. AIPAC said, what, mother effer? Oh, we're going to raise $2.3 million and take you out. We're going to give the bag to our other lady. And guess what happened? Analilia Mejia won. Then they bragged about it. Danielle, what happened 2 days ago? Through Hakeem Jeffries laundered money through a couple of anodyne-sounding PACs, North Carolina's tight 3rd district race between Valerie Foushee, who is the old guard establishment Democrat, who, feeling the heat, then said, I'm not taking any AIPAC money anymore. But then guess who laundered the money into her campaign? Against Nida alum, progressive, pro-Palestinian, pro-abolish ICE, Muslim American woman. Guess who won by 0.8 percentage points? And guess who's crowing right now? Danielle, tell him.
Who?
Valerie Foushee won. And guess who's bragging about defeating people against AIPAC? AIPAC. And guess who AIPAC takes money from? Right-wing billionaires. People like Miriam Adelson, who's given more than $100 million to Donald Trump and literally said, you will get $100 more million if you continue with your project of allowing Israel to annex the entire West Bank. I'll give you more. And these Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries, laundered the money, folks. And when Gavin Newsom flip-flopped, right, and he said, I'm not going to take AIPAC money, what we said is, okay, you won't take money from AIPAC, but will you take money from AIPAC-affiliated super PACs? No one asked that question, Danielle. That's the question we all have to have.
Because that's the way, that is the workaround that they have found. That is the workaround. AIPAC's name is so fucking dirty, right, that they have decided, oh, we have to find another means, another outlet to get our money and to give our money and get our hooks into people. And that is what they are doing. And so you have these Democrats now who are going to say, oh, I don't take money from AIPAC. And the follow-up question is what Waj just needs to say, is what needs to be asked. You won't take money from AIPAC, but will you take money from AIPAC affiliated organizations?
No one asked that question. Notice that, folks. If I had my, well, I'm not going to be allowed to ask anyone that question again after, I asked that question of Jeffries.
He's not coming on. He's not coming back.
You see how pissed off he got, Danielle? See how pissed off he got? Oh, and speaking about the other question, I mean, gosh, as we're folks, we had 3 segments for today's show.
And I'm like, and we covered one?
We're gonna talk about that heifer, Kristi Noem. I'm fasting. I had another word.
He said the word heifer.
I did, though. I did say the word, but heifer, I don't care. When people say don't make fun of women's looks, I completely agree. But when it comes to these Trump women, Kristi Noem, Caroline Leavitt, I have no problem. I have no problem playing dirty because these people are hate mongers. They're cruel. They're sociopathic. Yep. So we're gonna talk about ICE and her. We're also gonna talk about the Epstein files. But when there's a potential global war, folks, you got to prioritize.
And by potential global war, we mean one is underway. And now, over the last 6 days, it has brought in how many countries?
Well, actually, the countries that have been struck is pretty much the entirety of the Middle East except Yemen. Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, Cyprus, even Oman, Saudi Arabia, Iran, of course, Israel, Lebanon. We also know that Europe is being dragged in, like we said, China, because their oil is choked. They always want to send negotiators. Russia, as of today, voila, they're like, yeah, we're actually aligned with Iran, and we any opportunity to weaken America. Oh, hey, Iran. By the way, we won't provide you the weapons, but we know where some U.S. military.
We won't provide you the weapons right now.
Yeah, now.
We're out in the open.
So China's kind of through negotiation, but folks, in all seriousness, and to what just Daniel just said, what stops Russia and Iran? This stuff escalates real quick. If China, which depends on Iran for 90% of its oil, is choked off and it starts bleeding the Chinese economy, Danielle, they can join just like Russia in providing, wait for it, intelligence. And to me, then, that means you're part and parcel of the war. Sure, you're not overtly there with missiles and ground troops, but you've actually put your thumb on the scale. And all these thumbs are against the United States.
Yeah, or you could provide those, little robots you had on display for the Chinese New Year that they're not just dancing robots, friends. That's not what they're doing over there. The fact is, look, Donald Trump is literally on a warpath.
Yeah.
Donald Trump believes that he is going to own the Western Hemisphere. Donald Trump believes that he can walk around, blow up whatever, do whatever, and who's going to stop me? And what I say is this. You fuck with China's economy. You fuck with Russia's access to oil. And you're using Iran, essentially, as your go-between to try and obliterate the Middle East to create the greater Israel. I am telling you, these are countries I don't want to go up against because they are countries that genuinely in their heart, we ain't got nothing to lose. We've been at war. We're happy to go to war. We kill our own people.
Yep.
We're like about that life. You, America, on the other hand, are not. And so you want to play chicken with us, like we're going to play chicken.
It's thug life. The hate you give, thug life. Iran, folks, this is where we're at. You have to know the mindset. We'll bleed to the last person, but we ain't going to give up. How much are you? This is the calculus, exactly what Danielle said. This is Iran's, folks, Cliff Notes. We're willing to bleed. Are you willing to bleed? Okay, let's see how much. We're going to gouge you. And as this is happening, folks, Donald Trump is underwater, lowest favorability rating, negative double digits on the economy, negative double digits on inflation, negative double digits on immigration. The United States government is killing Americans. ICE is killing Americans. They're spending $38 billion to create concentration camps. As this is happening, the Epstein files are not going away. There was a drop in the Epstein files yesterday, which is a terrible look for Donald Trump. He's negative on the Epstein files. Now, 50% of Americans want to say abolish ICE. People still can't afford their eggs. Price of groceries have gone up. Because of this, price of oil is going to go up. And check this out. the latest data point. This is gouging, folks. Gouging just isn't through war. Gouge, 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 gouge. How much are you willing to bleed for your cankled vulgarian rapist? Check this out, Danielle. Just came out today. Latest job number reports. Job growth has not only stalled, but it may be going backwards. All right.
That's called job loss.
Yes.
So if it's going backwards, that's not growth.
CNBC today highlighted that labor force participation is now the lowest it has been since late 2021, before the COVID vaccine was widely available. Danielle, how much appetite do Americans who don't have jobs, can't afford their rent, already have terrible health care, can't afford grocery prices, are having trouble making ends meet because they can't afford fuel now? How much are we willing to bleed for this war?
Let me tell you something, not much. And I was pulling up the stock market right now. The Dow is down over 570 points. NASDAQ is down. S&P is down. And what I played yesterday was on the Danielle Moody Show was a clip from Fox Business. And maybe I still can pull it up because Fox Business made a note of the fact that Americans have aggressively pulled out their money from 401ks.
Good number of people tapped into their 401ks early last year. How many did that?
6%, or about 4.5 million people took out hardship withdrawals. The number's concerning, but it is easier to tap your retirement account early because of changes that Congress has made in recent years that allow you to do that.
6% of 401k holders in the country took out hardship loans from their 401ks last year.
And if you take out a 401k, for those who don't know, you touch it. If you take it out, what's the penalty on that? 20%?
Yeah, it's high.
It's So I'm forgetting
very high.
If someone can tell us the number real quick, if you take it out early, you have to, I think, pay taxes on it, and you get hit with a penalty on it. So it's essentially like burning your own money. So 20%, right? Thank you. So think about that. Taxes plus 20%, but you're so desperate, you're like, shit, man, I'm literally burning my own money, but I need this money right now.
Correct.
That's how desperate you are. And it's your 401k.
And this, I just want to say, this was last year.
Oh, wait, CPA says 10%.
Says it was 10%.
Thank you.
CPA says it was 10%. This was last year. This was before war, multiple wars that America is now going around and starting. So what do you think that is going to be by the end of this year, beginning of next year?
Can I give you some more news from 12 hours ago?
Jesus Christ. I need you to stay off the web.
President Trump encouraged, well, we know this already, right?
Okay.
President Trump, the United States has encouraged Kurds to rebel, even though it's betrayed Kurds nonstop, right? So President Trump has encouraged Iranian Kurdish forces in Iraq to launch attacks against Iran as the Middle East conflict widened, with Azerbaijan now warning it would retaliate for being targeted by Iranian missiles. So it seems like this conflict is escalating, and it seems like this conflict is very quickly escalating into a global conflict. And I think we have a term for that. We had a prequel, two prequels for that.
It begins with W. World War III. World War III.
Russia, China, Middle East, Iran, Azerbaijan, United States, and Spain. Folks, listen, respect to Spain. I don't know if you've been following this.
Oh yeah, I saw them. We ain't care. We ain't giving you our bases.
It's like,
we're not doing it.
Peace out. And Donald Trump said, "You're gonna have to do it, Spain." Spain's like, "Nope." Then Donald Trump came out and said, "I talked to Spain. They're doing it." And then 2 hours later, Spain's like, "Nope,
no, we're not."
Nope. And Spain's smart. You know why? Anyone who participates in this, Danielle, becomes a target.
Mm-hmm.
And Spain's like, "Nah, dog. This is going to be disastrous, and you all die. And I just want the world to know, Spain, Spain's not in this.
It ain't us.
It ain't us.
It ain't us.
It ain't me. It wasn't me.
Yeah, it ain't us. Folks, that's all the time we have today before Watch gives us more fucking breaking news. Like, hey, Danielle, look out your window right now. You see that smoke? Maybe you want to run.
Hey, Danielle, look, it's a Russian paratrooper. It's like Red Dawn, but in real life, the movie Red Dawn. Can I just say, because we live in this hellscape, all of this could have been avoided if we had just elected a Black Indian woman. She wasn't perfect. No one's perfect. We could have slept at night. I did try my best. People say, watch, go back and look at the receipts, folks. I criticized Biden because he deserved it. I criticized the Dems for effing up in Gaza because they deserved it. I criticized them for courting Liz Cheney instead of their base because I wanted to help them, not because I have any fidelity to the Democratic Party. But in this hellscape reality, Danielle, the Democratic Party is the only counterweight to fascism. We tried our best. Danielle, anyone who invited me, comedians for Kamala. I'm not even a comedian. I said, sure, nerds for Kamala. We did everything we could. Everything we could. And just to let you know, in this hellscape, we couldn't even get through our friggin' rundown. Can I just tell people real quick what was in our rundown? We were going to start with Kristi Noem being fired.
Kristi Noem being fired. We were going to give you the background on Mr. Two first name tough guy, Markwayne Mullin, who's going to be her replacement. Then we were going to roll into the fact that Donald Trump did sexually assault a 13-year-old girl in the DOJ on top of getting rid of 65,000 files.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. He's my lawyer. Getting on top of discarding 65,000 of the files that they had released for more redactions, because who does their homework after the fact? Now released the interviews of the Tiffany Doe, who said allegedly that Donald Trump had assaulted her when she was 13 years old. And we had all of that. But folks, we're headed to World War III. So maybe we'll talk about it on Monday.
Maybe. Let's see who else gets caught up in this crap. All of this could have been avoided. Look how much time they've taken from us, Daniel. Look how much time they've taken from us.
Tomorrow is going to be a week at war.
And I have to go to Philadelphia. No, I'm going to Phoenix. So I have to go to Phoenix tomorrow. I'll be in Phoenix Saturday and Sundays for a good cause, raising money for educational shelters and food. But I'm tired. I really kind of wanted to sleep, but there's no sleep for anyone. Danielle, can you please shamelessly promote yourself?
Yes. Folks, like we say every single week, this is independent media. We are people powered. It is your dollars, your support, your likes, comments, and subscribes that allows us to do the work that we do. So before we go, I want to shout out Jimmy for your $5, Susan, our fantastic moderator, for gifting, Julie for your $20, Pass the Joints for your gifting of a membership, His Divine for $1.99, every dollar counts, Game Shark for becoming a member for a month, $4.99 from Tina, from $4 from Carrie, Susan with $10. Thank you so much, folks. If you don't have the ability to give, right, and which we understand, times are getting tough, please just like, comment, and subscribe to both of our channels for free, to both of our Substacks. Waj is at the Left Hook, I'm at the Damn Digest. But if you do have money to spare, do consider becoming a paid subscriber at the Damn Digest. I'm running a 20% off all month long for my subscriptions. It is daniellemoody.substack.com/damn sale, DAM sale, for Substack. And Waj is also, Left Hook, running a forever discount of $375 for him over at the Left Hook. So folks, please do go support. Great content is up this week, so do check it out.
How about the rest of today, Danielle? What are you up to?
The rest of today, unlike you, I take off on Fridays because I need my wits about me.
It's so smart of you. So can I ask you real quick? What do you do like a normal human?
I read. I don't read the news. I read some fiction books. I read some inspirational books. I go for a walk. I meditate. I catch up with friends. I do my finances. Like I do regular human stuff. Why? Because I need to. If I don't, I won't look like you, Waj. You look good. You look good for doing 8 interviews a day and, and fasting. And, I won't look like that, and I won't be kind.
Can I tell you what someone said on Wednesday? I love it. All of my readers and viewers are like my mom, or they might be my mom. Someone's like, Danielle looks beautiful and radiant. Waj, you look tired. I'm like, thank you. She goes, Danielle looks so amazing. Waj, what's wrong with you? That was like exact quote in YouTube. I'm like, thank you. Thank you very much. They're like, he just went on and on. Like, Danielle looks beautiful, radiant. Oh my God, her skin, she's glowing. And Waj. And I'm like, it's true. Because I went back and I saw it. I'm like, yeah, this tracks right now. It's true. Danielle, folks, is Danielle 50? Is she 20? Is she 30? 20? Is she 70? Nobody knows.
No one knows.
A great mystery. This is the beauty of black skin that is joyful. It doesn't crack. And then look at Kristi Noem. Can we just show what happens to Kristi Noem? This is what hate does to you.
Do we have it? Because Kristi Noem, ma'am, just like, that's
with a lot of work.
That's with a lot of work. And then we'll never forget this, Kristi. We'll never forget you doing your best trophy hunt with a $60,000 Rolex on, standing in front of a cell of men jam-packed who were not from the shipment of 230 men that you sent to CCOT to die, who thankfully were released after 4 months of torture and rape and humiliation. But this is her cosplay. God, we'll miss it. But now we have a failed wrestler who apparently is going to take her place because, somebody said this, Waj. They said, changing out Kristi Noem for Markwayne Mullin is like pissing your pants and changing your shirt.
I was going to say, it's pissing your pants and then wearing new pants, then shitting in them. That's what I would have said. Because because folks, real quick, I know we got to go. He's dumber. Kristi Noem actually isn't that dumb. She was a governor, had some experience. I'm not really praising her. He's even less experienced. A governor actually has to do stuff. So he's a less experienced. He's either the dumbest or second dumbest person in the Senate. And I want to ask you this final question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's dumber? Markwayne Mullin, who's not going to be the head of our DHS, which, by the way, folks, DHS is a ginormous agency that also, houses ICE, but I digress. Or Senator Tommy Tuberville. Who is dumber?
I think it's got to be Markwayne Mullin. Because when I played the video of him trying to get into a physical fight during a Senate committee hearing with a person giving testimony, I almost lost it. And Bernie Sanders trying to have to break that up and be like, you're a senator, sit down. But do you know when he did sit down, Waj? Do you know when he did sit down? Let me just show.
We have to. No, I think I know.
I just, you know when he did sit down?
Oh.
Yeah, that's when he crouched down on January 6th when the Capitol building was being stormed by Donald Trump's insurrectionists. That then after he looks like he is shitting himself, fearing for his life, crouched down as the murderous MAGA mob descends on the Capitol building, he would then follow up this moment, this pristine moment, with going on Fox and saying that, and all around on the news channels, saying that Donald Trump had the right to pardon January 6th insurrectionists. He's very thoughtful, and if he thought it was a good idea, then I guess it was a good idea. That's not what was going through Markwayne Mullin's head on January 6th.
And also this past week, folks, bringing back full circle, you have to know Trump's psyche. Markwayne Mullin very intentionally auditioned for this job because he came out, was perfectly fine to prostrate himself before Donald Trump, act like a fool, and kept saying that we need this conflict. And people are like, it's a war. It's not a war. Literally, Pete Hegseth said, okay, there you go. After 9/11, we said never again. But this is not a war of choice. And didn't the president run on not starting a war with Iran? This isn't a war. Hegseth today said it's a war. the Ayatollah declared war on us. We're not at war with the Iranian people. That was him auditioning. This was very deliberate because, as we know, even going back to the first administration, this is how you get in the Trump administration. You go on Fox and CNN and you praise Donald Trump. This is all he does. Remember, Danielle, his executive time where all he had was just hours and hours in the day in the afternoon where he did nothing. And then we found out that Donald Trump just literally watched the television and ranted and raved.
And
was
ate
happy when people
overcooked
said,
steak and
throwing ketchup bottles. So Markwayne Mullin just auditioned, folks. He nailed the audition, and now he is most likely going to be the head of DHS, but it does trigger a special election. However, sadly, it's in Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, the Republicans are committed to just eating dirt for the rest of their lives. So,
well, I mean, they're 50th in every single thing.
Nearly everything.
Every single benchmark that you could have for quality, they are 50th. Waj, tell the people where you are for the rest of the day because you don't ever take a break. And, you know.
I should have taken a break, and I regret it, but I'm up 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Former Avenger Cliff Schecter is up for the first time, and then 2:30. We're having a really good, nerdy but important conversation. I have not forgotten about the Broligarchy. I have not forgotten about crypto and Bitcoin. I have not forgotten about Epstein. And so David Morris, who was on before, who's a really great tech journalist, has a new piece specifically talking about Epstein's ties to the Bitcoin crypto bros, which we try to keep our eyes on the ball, folks. That's not going away. And these crypto and AI bros are spending millions of dollars in PACs.
Midterms. Yep.
And those PACs are helping corporate Democrats.
Yeah. So check out Waj, the left hook, 10 minutes, folks. You know, as we always say, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. We're in it. You know, we're in, and this is not the worst of it. So really do the opposite of what Waj does. Do what I do and find some rest, even if, you know, just a moment.
Well, Daniel, one quick question. Someone asked, what book are you reading?
Ooh, right now, I'm a person that reads a couple of books at the same time, but I'm reading Sage Warriors by Valerie Carr, Kaur. Sage Warriors. I'm also reading Salt Crop. I can't remember the author's name. That is a fiction book that I'm reading, and then I consistently go back to Eckhart Tolle's New Earth. So those are the three that I'm rotating right now.
I'm also rotating, and then people might laugh at me, but it's fine. I find comic books make me happy. Every Wednesday there's it's comic book day.
Oh, really?
I go to my comic book store. They know me by name.
There's still a physical comic book store?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I still take my children sometimes as props. And then
I'm here for that.
They give me my comics. I read all the serious stuff. And then late at night when I get a few times, I just, one or two comics there. I'm happy.
I love that.
My wife looks at me. She goes, it makes him happy. Drink my chai. It works, folks.
I love it.
And I know who the good guys are in the comic books.
Right. You need to have balance. You need to have balance with all the news. That's why I started reading fiction. I never read fiction until COVID. And a friend of mine who passed away, she had said to me, you need to get out of your head and start reading fiction. And I did. And it has really helped me. So.
And also they say reading novels and books and fiction in particular expands our capacity for empathy and imagination.
Yeah. So look at us. All right, friends, take care of yourselves. We'll see you on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Waj, travel safe. And please, oh, please, don't be a fascist.